We're going to talk about a kind of pollution that you probably don't even think about. It's one that's quietly, and I mean quietly, erasing something that's been part of the human experience forever.
I mean, you've done this, right? You look up expecting to see this incredible blanket of stars, but instead, you can only count a few. It definitely wasn't always this way, and believe it or not, there's a pretty simple reason for the change.
All right, so let's get right to it. What is the culprit behind our disappearing night sky?
The answer is something called light pollution, and it's exactly what it sounds like. It's all the artificial light from our cities, our streets, our homes that just shines up into the sky, where it's not doing anybody any good. It creates this kind of, this luminous fog that just washes out the starlight.
But here's the thing. This is so much bigger than just missing out on a pretty view. As we're about to find out, this extra light is actually a super powerful force, and it's throwing the entire natural world completely out of whack.
So how did this problem get so big so incredibly fast? Let's take a quick look at the timeline, because it's pretty wild.
Honestly, the most shocking thing here is the speed. I mean, just 4 or 5 decades ago, this was barely an issue. But as our cities just exploded in size, so did our use of outdoor lights. And that glow has now spread to the point where a place like Hong Kong is now considered the most light-polluted spot on the entire planet.
Yeah, this artificial glow has really created a world that's, it's out of balance. So let's dig into the direct consequences on our energy, on our planet, and on all the creatures that we share it with. Let's start with the environmental cost, okay? That number right there, that's the amount of carbon dioxide pumped into the atmosphere every single year just to power lights we don't really need. That is a staggering amount of greenhouse gas from something we barely even notice. And here's the kicker. A huge chunk of that is just pure waste. We're talking about almost a third of all public outdoor lighting being totally misdirected. It's shining sideways or even straight up into space instead of, down on the ground where we actually need it. This is literally energy pollution.
And it gets even crazier than just CO2. There's this really fascinating and kind of concerning chemical reaction that's supposed to happen at night. A natural compound called the nitrate radical basically works to scrub pollutants out of the air we breathe. But bright artificial light destroys it. It essentially shuts down nature's own nighttime air purifier.
For wildlife, the domino effect is it's staggering. Think about it. For nocturnal animals, darkness isn't just the absence of light, it's their entire habitat. So when we flood their world with our lights, it's like taking a bulldozer to a forest. Birds get lost, mammals can't hunt, and crucial insects are drawn to their death, which messes up the entire food chain. And this is probably one of the most heartbreaking examples. For millions of years, baby sea turtles have used the brightest light on the horizon, the moon reflecting on the ocean, to find their way to safety. But now, that ancient instinct leads them straight toward streetlights and buildings, a fatal journey inland.
And of course, it's also impacting our ability to just look up and out. For astronomers, this constant sky glow is like trying to hear a whisper in the middle of a rock concert. It's basically blinding our telescopes and slamming our window to the universe shut.
And hey, this isn't just about other species. It's hitting our own biology too. See, our bodies are built to run on a 24-hour clock, right? It's called the circadian rhythm. Darkness is a signal for our brains to release melatonin, which is the key hormone for sleep and for repairing our bodies. But constant artificial light at night messes all that up, suppressing melatonin, disrupting our sleep, and it's even being linked to some really serious long-term health problems. Okay, so after hearing all of that, it might seem a little bleak. But here's where the story takes a turn, because this is the good news. Unlike so many other huge environmental problems, this is one we can actually fix. And honestly, it's way easier than you might think.
In fact, here's the most hopeful part of this whole thing. The second you turn off an unnecessary light, the pollution it was creating is gone. Poof. It's instantaneous. We don't have to wait decades to see the results. We just have to start being smarter about how and where we use light.
So what does smarter actually look like? Well, it's really simple, practical stuff. First, use light fixtures that are shielded so they point the light down where we need it, not up at the sky. Second, just turn off lights when they're not needed. It's that easy. Third, for security, use motion sensors so lights only come on when there's actually someone there. And finally, we can support creating dark sky reserves, these protected areas that preserve our last truly dark night skies. See, none of this is radical. It's just common sense.
And the impact of these simple changes, it's massive. Just look at this. Simply shielding lights to point them downward solves half the problem, right there.
Then you add in things like timers and sensors, which gets rid of another 30%. And suddenly, we've solved the vast majority of light pollution without making our world dark and dangerous.
This is one of those rare challenges that isn't about giving something up. It's about getting something back. A view of our own galaxy, a healthier planet for us and for wildlife, and a deeper connection to the natural rhythm of the world. It is completely, 100% within our reach.
So that's the thought I want to leave you with. Next time you're outside at night, just look around. Every light has a purpose, sure, but it also has a cost. We can absolutely have safety and security without sacrificing the stars. We just have to decide that our view of the universe is actually worth saving.